What is up? Welcome back. It's Friday night. We are here with the Average Boys podcast. It's your boy Crispy, and I am joined here with my badass co-host, Trigger. What is up, my dude?
What's going on, brother?
Nothing, man. Chilling. We're getting some stuff together so that way we can run this show today.
For sure, man. For sure.
How's it going?
Pretty good, man. Man, kind of still recovering from the fact that like I don't have my old Facebook back, and so like I'm trying to like re-add people and stuff like that, and it's kind of getting in the way of things, and it ain't fun, man. It's man, if it's not one thing, it's another. I'm still trying to get my profile back. So everyone that's added me on my new one, I'll have another one, I guess. But
Coming soon.
yeah, but still, like, it's just one of those things where like, dude, I have like I have like a decade of memories on that thing.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, like,
got it.
I've got, like my wedding video on that fucking profile, dude. So
Well, I mean, thank God that it's somewhere on the internet, because if it's somewhere on the
yeah,
internet, we can at least straggle it back. Because
yeah.
I have your video too from your wedding, so it can't be too far. So we can't
Yeah,
make
no.
it to where it's
What I think it's really gonna come down to is like me like authenticating certain things with
Mhm.
like Facebook on their end and just being like, okay, like here's your hey Brittany, and just kind of like making sure that like they know that it's me and like re-authenticating things, and them hopefully giving me access back to my account and stuff like that.
Mhm. It's good that way other people can find out how they can figure out how to
Yeah,
get their
man.
stuff back.
I'll
Also,
definitely kind of
I
like
never had that
walk through
happen.
that process because I mean, dude, I was hacked, and shit like that. So
That's what
I mean,
happens
I
when you
know that
download all those dirty girls, man.
yeah, man.
What's going on, Kyle? What's going on, Michael? How's everything going?
What's going on, boys?
Welcome to the show. We are about to hit you with some nerd-tastic news, with some things that are going on the internet. What has gone on with you this week when it comes to everything crazy in comics, man?
Everything crazy in comics, dude. Honestly, it really hasn't. Just I think I've been like on like a really really big manga kick as of late. Like I've been like reading a lot more like manga and a lot more you know a lot of things from the eastern side of the world. You
What,
know,
Easter? Yeah, that's right.
yeah. So stuff with Japan. But like the new My Hero, Black Clover, Kengan, Baki, all that stuff, uh from out there. And like I'm having like a lot of fun with it, but that's just because like Marvel, I think, has like their sole focus on like their multimedia aspect of like their company right now. Like their
Mhm.
comic books are a little bit lackluster,
Well,
to
yeah.
say
I
the
mean,
least.
I even went off and got to finally read online. I didn't spend any cash on it, but I read I'm not Starfire.
Oh my god, how was that?
That was oof.
Was it a big SJW fan fest?
Yeah, for what it's worth, there's a lot of audience push on the SJW look. I think it was a self input by the director of the story. The
Mm-hmm.
character looks a lot like the way she does in real life.
Got it. Got it.
There were even like weird art points that the person drawing the character had to put in, which was the girl has like a guy cut where she has the
Okay. Yeah.
undercut of the hair, right? She
Yeah.
has the undercut, and on the back side of her head, every time the character's walking away, her hair's like split, like if it's like on her shoulders,
Yeah.
but it has this like V that shows that it's undercut in the back of her head, which, unless you had it parted in the back to your shoulders to be like a girl, like the way girls put their hair sideways or whatever,
Mhm.
on their shoulders instead of letting it just hang, you would never see that. I've had my hair undercut for years as a guy, and I have never been told, "Hey, man, the back of your head where it's shaven, I could see the back of your head." Like you never have that. You just have it out, like
Yeah.
just combed back. Hey, Danny. Um. So that was one of the parts that the character always had to have when she was in shot, and I was very like man, that's super weird. Like, that's such an awkward way to tell the artist that she needs to to draw that character's hair.
Hmm.
Other than that, it was a lot of like kind of like an acceptance, like, hey, I am female, hear me roar. I am girl,
Yeah.
hear me roar. There was a lot of the banter to be like, oh, this girl is going to be into females. Like, even though she is an alien that demands acceptance for being different and doesn't want to follow the norm, but then wants to be accepted quickly for liking other females. And then the other thing was the I am not Starfire situation has to deal with her not wanting to be like her mother. So a lot of the beginning part of the comic book consisted of the daughter kind of like slut shaming the mother. Yeah, the crazy thing about Starfire is
What a
from
great way to push a
yeah.
SJW.
That's what was
You
very,
know.
very weird is that the daughter is the one that was kind of making fun of the mother like 80% of the time.
Hmm.
And it's like if you guys have played Metal Gear Solid, you guys kind of know who this character the Quiet is,
Oh
which
yeah.
is a female character that was made in Metal Gear Solid 5 that is photosynthesis. She has photosynthesis to get energy from the sun. So her costume is very alluring, but it has purpose because she gets her food and energy source from being out and having her body touch sunlight. Starfire is the same way.
Hmm.
Starfire has a costume that is very revealing. It's not even very revealing if you think about it in the Teen Titans show. But her costume is created that way because she gets her powers from the sun just like Superman does. Just like Superboy and all those other guys. And the daughter says that and says, "You know what? Like, I'm not, my mom over here has her costume. I don't have a costume, but my mom wears her costume. And the reason why it's like that is because she gets her powers from the sun." It even admits it. And then later on, she's like, "Well, I'm not like my mom who only wears like a foot of clothing to go to work. I'm a big girl and I have to cover up a lot of my spots." And I was very confused. I was like, "Wait, are you telling me that you're going to say that even though your mom has a specific reason for her to wear those clothes, you're gonna make fun of her and say that you're not like her in that way?"
Yeah,
There's
dude.
just
Like, I don't know. That line of logic kind of fucking frustrates me because I'm like, like what a very anti SJW like line of thinking to like immediately go to slut shaming.
yep.
You know, which like I get. Like I understand. Starfire's always been a very very promiscuous looking character.
Mhm.
Um, like even in all the animated movies, she's shown to be an extremely promiscuous individual, especially when it came to dick. Uh,
Oh yeah.
Definitely no pun intended on that one. But you know, yeah, I'm not like other women exactly. Um, but the thing is that like she doesn't know any better. She's an
Yep.
actual alien. She's not from here, and so like I get like why the kid would be like, well, I'm not like my mom and I don't do things this way and stuff like that for these reasons. All right, dude, cool. But like, I don't know, the kid just sounds like a little douchebag.
Hmm. For what it's worth, it's written in a way that's very
Douchebaggy?
yeah, it's very hard to swallow. It's very hard to take down because the character is very unlikable.
Yeah, I
She's
don't like the character.
Yeah, she's very unrelatable.
Mm-hmm.
And the scenarios she kind of puts herself in is it doesn't correlate very good with the Teen Titans story, and it doesn't correlate very well with the character itself. It's just not. It's just someone that you would look at and not see in those situations.
Yeah.
And the thing is her character was supposed to be the most relatable one in the whole series. Is
JK.
she? No, not at all. So, yeah, I really wouldn't recommend it. The story reading, unless you can get it for free. If you can get the I am not Starfire story for
You know what's
free.
so funny, because like and like now that you mentioned that particular comic, um dude, I have seen like a lot of comic book like YouTubers just straight flame that comic book. They're just like, dude, this is trash.
It's bad.
This is
It really
like
is bad.
this is like some like DC propaganda SJW kind of shit.
Yep.
They're like if you're an avid comic book reader, do not read this. This is for like a person who's trying to figure out who they are in
Well, they
the
didn't even
world.
release it in comic. They just released it in graphic novel.
Yeah, and
This is like it's almost like the way that they did that the Marvels New Warriors,
yeah.
but they didn't even release New Warriors because fucking people fucking bashed the shit out of it 80% before it even came out.
Yeah, because it was fucking stupid.
Yep. Now DC it got bashed pretty bad before it came out also. But then again, DC has it's being run a lot by a lot of those like signal, like the people that are trying to signal for the SJW movement.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of those people are going to push by all the people that are saying no, don't buy it because it's garbage, because they believe it's just like a bunch of people trying to silence them from them being innovative or whatever they want to claim to be. But
No, you're just a fucking douchebag.
But yeah, I really do not recommend I Am Not Starfire. I really think it's not a great book. I really
Yeah,
think
I'm
for what
actually
it's worth-
looking up the author right now, and this is my god.
Yeah, you can see that she's very much like the character, the way it's drawn,
Yeah.
almost like to a brim. But yeah,
Yeah,
really don't
no,
recommend it, so.
she's pushing for like a lot of trans stuff, and I get it, dude. More power to her and stuff like that to push for the whole LGBTQ movement and stuff like that. 100%.
Well, I
Like,
mean, just to top this situation
but this is
off,
not the way to do it.
yeah, of course not. I mean, to top this situation off, we just got confirmation that Tim Drake, right now they're going after characters that are super super well known. Tim Drake has just been brought out to be
Bisexual.
He is now a bisexual character, which I
don't care. I'm
I don't
like,
ever
hey
think
man,
that I've
cool.
read a Batman comic book thinking or hoping that that Robin was into dudes or chicks or really anything. But being that I think it's a very, very good story that you can get into it because Batman's character is usually researched in some way on how his sexuality is going, right? Because like Batman has always kind of been into Catwoman and vice versa. So it's a good way, it's a good comic book that you can you can kind of express your terminology when it comes to your characters. So knowing that Tim Drake is gay is not as important as anything else in the comic books. But I think the Batman comic book is a good way for them to discover it or kind of like explore those situations. Being that the Robin character and Batman character have always been in relationships in some way. You know what I mean? Compared to most characters in the DC. So, yeah, so Tim Drake just came out as bi. I think it was for a comic book line.
Yeah.
But what is this going to do for the rest of the series for DC? Like I know you're
Nothing.
watching Titans.
Yeah.
So do you think it's going to like bleed over into that?
No. No, it's so fucking isolated, bro. Like, so like the whole Titans thing, I like the reason I like Titans, and this is for like a very personal reason, because like I think that a certain amount of gritty is kind of needed, especially in settings in the settings that like, you know, Batman and, you know, the Titans find themselves in. They're very, very dark settings. And I don't mean just like, you know, like the overall attitude, but I do mean like they're always like in a dark place. Like they operate mostly at night, you know, and the things that they get themselves into, you know, these are all humans. Like you got to understand, like a lot of them are just humans, and they're going up against godlike figures and stuff like that. So, you
Yep.
know, I think just, you know, because like I have like a, you know, big old potty mouth and everything like that, you know, the fact that, you know, like in the first episode of Titans in season 1, you know, you hear Robin say fuck Batman.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, like it's like the funniest thing to me. I was like, dude, fuck yeah.
Mhm.
And you know, or like when Dick Grayson and Hawk get into a fight, you know, over Dove, you know, it's like, oh man, you know, you talking to my girl, and he's like, well, dude, she was talking to me, and he's like, well, how about I fuck you up? And he's like, well, like, let's go then. And you know, like it goes on from there. You know, it's shit like that, dude. You know, and I love it. I love the gritty like aspect of the Titans show. Is it comic book accurate? Very, very little, very little.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's gritty. I like that. You know, it's kind of like supernatural, but like superheroes, and they cuss and stuff like that. And I'm all for it. That's like one of the biggest selling points of Titans for me is right now.
Mhm.
Is the
Well, I mean,
fact that, like, they do that.
I was always really blown away by it because of the fact that they had like Hawk and his
And
chick.
Dove, yeah, Hawk and
Yeah, I
Dove,
thought that
like
was very
the
interesting
two
because they're
most
such.
slept on DC characters ever are like the two biggest like pivotal characters in the show.
Yeah, so I knew they were gonna take chances, which was
On
cool.
top of that, you know, Alan Rickman, you know, he's already been Aquaman before. You know, he's already been in the DC universe.
Oh yeah, yes he has.
You know, he was Aquaman in
That was Hawk,
Smallville.
right?
No, it was Aquaman. Yeah, Hawk was Aquaman in Smallville.
In Smallville,
Yeah.
I remember that. That was crazy, man. But yeah, the DC universe been making some waves, dude.
Yeah. And it's actually super funny that you mentioned that. You know, the fact that Suicide Squad was also released at the same time on HBO Max as it was on theaters. And apparently the deals were reworked for the HBO Max release so that they would not run into the exact problem that Marvel has right now.
Yeah, Widow.
Yeah, with Black Widow.
With now
With
Scarlett
Scarlett
Johansson's been kicked out of Disney, man.
Honestly, like so I see that, but the people that I'm seeing it from are not very reputable.
Mhm.
And the reason that I'm not taking that with like a larger grain of like with that with like a larger more like attention to it is because like bigger news sites have not reported on it whatsoever.
Oh yeah.
The moment that I hear like the Washington Post, Variety, TMZ, like all these other big Screen Rant, CBR, cool, dude. Like I get it. Like these guys, like they know what's up, but they are half and half. It's true. As much as people don't want to believe it or accept it, they are half and half.
That's a good call.
Until I hear it from an actual reputable news website, then no, you're not gonna get my full attention.
Yeah, but in some way, you have to know that Disney is not happy with the acceptance of what's been going on with the Scarlett Johansson situation.
That's not our fault.
And we know that Kevin Feige's upset with Disney also.
Yeah, and he's like the greatest producer of our generation right now. That's the last person you want to be pissing off. Is your biggest moneymaker. That guy has made you billions.
Billions, man.
Billions with the B, billions.
I mean,
last person you want to be upsetting is him.
I mean, I can guarantee, like right now, the idea of them telling Scarlett Johansson that they don't want anything to do with her is kind of like they're doing her a favor since she's already finished her 10 years in contracts.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, you know, like, even if that were to be the case, 3-4 years down the road, they're going to be like, hey, would you mind doing this?
I kind of feel like the only reason why people are saying this is because of the fact that she's done with her contract and Marvel doesn't want her back, and because they're not doing big contracts anymore.
Which is fine. I mean, that
Yeah.
doesn't but that doesn't.
But I think that's where that spawned
I
from.
understand where those people are coming from, but at the same time, in my mind, that doesn't give full credence to. Oh well, they kicked her out.
They kicked her out.
What do you mean
Yeah,
they
I
kicked
just
her
feel
out?
like
She's already done. Like that's
I
like
feel like that's where that spawned from, though. Where those people, if they're getting their news from anywhere that's not credible, I feel like that's where they're getting that rumor from.
yeah,
Is that
which
she
I get,
is-
you know, but it like what I mean is like it'd be like me going to your house and we have we have dinner or something like that at your house, or we watch a movie at your house, and the movie's over, it's time for me to go, and I'm already out the door, and you're like, get the fuck out of my
Fuck
house.
out of my house. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
And I'm like, what? I'm leaving anyway. What does it matter? Shut up.
It
Go away.
don't make sense.
Yeah, it's the dumbest thing ever, you know. But people, they just like to fuel to the fire, dude.
Yeah. So now people are talking about how James Gunn has been asked to do a second Suicide Squad, and you know, he's not in denial that there may be a possibility that he has more works in the pocket with DC.
Good for him, dude. I mean, you know, like, as far as I'm concerned, he actually probably is done with Marvel, or Marvel's probably pretty done.
Probably
with him.
done with him
Yeah.
more than anything. But I think from what I've heard, the third Guardians of the Galaxy movie is his last movie that he's going to be doing,
Which,
and then he'll be out, which is fine.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Which means that they're probably going to kill Drax. I'm
I
calling
hope.
that right now. You know,
I hope they do.
I mean, dude, let's be honest. You know, like, Dave Bautista said that, like, you know, he won't do movies in Marvel without James Gunn. Well, James Gunn is done after, you know, Guardians 3, so it doesn't matter, dude. You know, they're probably
I
gonna
mean,
kill
even
him.
with that, like Dave Bautista is, he complains way too much, and he makes some shit. I think I read the last time that some company was saying that Dave Bautista said that he was homeless or he was broke before he got his job with Marvel. And I was like, that's complete bullshit. That's just someone who doesn't know how to fucking manage his money correctly. He had a lot of things going on before Marvel. So there's no way for him to be complaining that he doesn't fucking, he didn't have money and shit like that, and that James Gunn saved his life or whatever.
Yeah, and it's not James Gunn that saved your life. It's Marvel that saved your life. James Gunn, I guarantee you, James Gunn did not know who the fuck you were before you stepped on that set.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, like, you know, that's why I'm kind of just like, all right, man, whatever, dude. If you're gonna bitch, go for it. Just hurry it up. We got shit to do.
Yeah, but I have, you know, going back to the idea, I haven't really heard of Marvel making any of its characters like SJW as much anymore.
Yeah,
I don't even hear them really going in that direction. The last thing I heard is they're making Ghost Rider a female.
Cool. No,
did you hear about that?
But I actually, you know, I did. Yes, I did hear about that. Let me look at the new one. Alejandra Jones. Yeah, Alejandra Jones.
Yeah. Jones. That's weird.
Well, she came out in 2011 during the Fear Itself event. What?
Really? It's just Native American. It's not Echo, but I know it's a Native American. She'll be taking over the new Ghost Rider comic that's going to be coming out. And then of course, She-Hulk has been deemed the strongest Hulk that they've ever had, and she's already in the Red Room. Yeah, man, you didn't hear about that?
No.
I like that face you made. Yeah, She-Hulk's been deemed the strongest Hulk that's ever been in Marvel. They want to give her her own World War Hulk comic book. Apparently, that's where they're going to go with the Marvel cinematic story of She-Hulk.
Okay.
And her character is not going to be feminine. It's going to be really built. that big bulky character.
Yeah.
But yeah, She-Hulk's got a pretty crazy name for herself now that's coming up. They apparently they leaked a picture of Moon Knight, which got our friend
Blamed, I
Jeremy
hear.
put it up on our Facebook, but
Yeah.
we're kind of still unsure if it is or not.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that with a big old grain of salt.
Yeah, because that looks like a weird background.
Yeah.
What else? Warzone's got a new update. If you haven't updated your Warzone,
I
Leave it at
uninstalled it.
Warzone-
I'm not gonna lie, I
Warzone sucks.
uninstalled it.
yeah, Warzone just got an update. But yeah, there haven't really been much except for Marvel's What If, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. DC's Suicide Squad, which we talked about last week, and we could talk about a little bit this week also. And yeah, really not much of anything else going on. There's some events that are happening this weekend, which is, today being Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, they are doing in Hidalgo, they are doing a slasher horror little con for it, which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
Venom gets delayed again.
Oh yeah, until October something.
Something else got delayed too. I heard that some other story got delayed. I just can't remember what it is. Shang-Chi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Shang-Chi. I had my birthday. My birthday went really good.
How was that, man?
It's crazy being 40, but got to make some really cool food. Made got some tomahawk steak.
Oh wow.
Got to make that. Never made that before, so got to barbecue that. I'm a really big fan of barbecue, so got my black belt in barbecue. So yeah, I got to barbecue some tomahawk steaks and some stuff, and came out really good.
Heck yeah, man.
Better than expected. And yeah, it's been nice just accepting the fact that I'm 40. And yeah, thanks, Jeremy. Thank you very much. Thank you, Brittany. Yeah, but yeah, it was a pretty crazy week. I've been trying to recover, of course, because oh man, party time. Party
dude?
time. Yeah. And then of course being sick not too long ago, trying to recover from that. That's another thing. Yeah, it's been pretty cool. But other than that, we have Marvel's What If, dude. Did you get to check it out? I know you were telling me you got to kind of like check it out.
Yeah, man. I've been actually really, really busy today. So I got like all the spoilers, all the Easter eggs, the synopsis and stuff like that. So I mean, I know what happened. I just haven't actually seen the episode. Yeah. So I mean, granted, it's like one thing, to get just Easter eggs and like the big plot points instead of like watch everything and break certain things down for yourself, kind of like the way that you and I do anyway. But I mean, it's an interesting take on, the whole Peggy Carter becoming, Captain Carter. Yeah. And I'm like, it just kind of like baffles me a little bit. I'm like, man, like the fact that these things changed, like what would have happened if, like things had progressed that way, with Steve Rogers, with Bucky, with, those guys.
I have to say my internet might start messing up a little bit here.
No.
Yeah, just in case. I'm just letting you know.
All right. Well, you're starting to come back a little bit.
Yeah, just letting you know. I'm getting the little icon on the top.
Yeah, it's your picture. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we got your picture back. You're a little fuzzy, but you're good though.
Okay, well, what we were talking about, Peggy Carter.
Yeah. And like I said, dude, like it's really interesting that like, because you have to like really kind of think about that. You and I being very, very avid Marvel fans. Like we're like, oh man, like what would have been, or what if, right? If this had happened and stuff like that. And it's Oh man, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Brittany.
Yep.
Uh, I'm just glad that like that they're treating What If the exact same way that they did in the comics. It's short, it's to the point, and that's it.
Okay.
They're not drawing out like a huge story and stuff like that. Like because that's not what the What If comics do. Like
Yeah.
if you're gonna make it a What If, cool, dude, fine. But do not make it like a 6-part series of interlying events and blah 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 blah. Which I mean, I'm sure it's gonna do anyway, right?
I mean, yeah,
And
for
if
what it's worth, the show will go on for what, 9 episodes?
right, yeah. But
Yeah,
each
I think
one
so.
is still like an isolated event,
Standalone.
with where I'm sure that some of these what ifs are gonna take multiple episodes to tell, but I understand that. With hers, dude, that was a fucking quick one, bro. Like,
Oh
all right,
yeah.
man, boom, she becomes Captain Carter, she fights some Nazis, Red Skull opens up the Tesseract, gets sucked through, and Peggy
And
Carter happens to go
bing
through
bang
with him.
boom. Bing bang boom.
Yeah, boom, that's it, done.
Yeah, it was for what it's worth, it was fairly quick. Um was it everything that we said it was gonna be? No, there were some points that were missing. A lot of points that were missing. Um
But then
we
again, they're what
assumed
ifs. It was that's why like my hopes for this were not high whatsoever. So I'm not exactly missing out.
oh, that's interesting. A lot of Jeremy says a lot of people are saying that why
Why
can't
can't
they
they?
animate the shows like
That would have
Death and
been sick,
Robots?
dude. That would have been
Um,
super sick.
that would be very reminiscent of what they used to have for the Matrix called the Animatrix,
Yeah, that was cool.
and they kind of do that kind of stuff. I kind of hope they don't, because a lot of those things they will correlate with the shows or the movies, but they won't be a part of the films. And the thing is, right now, Marvel needs to have some kind of anchor point to what the multiverse can look like for the normies that don't know comic books like we do. And what do I mean by that? If you were to go off and I don't know if you guys remember this, but when Marvel Endgame came out, we had a discussion about it. And me and Trigger talked about time travel. And Trigger
Oh my
was kind of
god.
explaining how he understood the time travel to be in the Marvel universe. And I was saying it was quite confusing because they could do this, that, and this, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But we were really talking to ourselves about how we thought Marvel was going to come across that. The reason why we were able to discuss that is because we know what Marvel has done before with their timeline and their multiverse, because we've seen it a bunch of times in the comic books. A lot of people that don't read comic books or didn't read comic books or didn't know how Marvel does this saw it the way that we were talking about it without the idea of saying, well, you could do this and that, because we didn't know the limitations of what the film company wants to do with the product. Now we're starting to understand what the company is willing to do with the product. That's kind of what I think it is it's Marvel's way of letting the audience know, hey guys, well, we can probably do this. We could probably do this. We could probably do this. I bet you didn't think we could do that. Think of the ending of Endgame when all the portals open up and everybody comes out. Think of the audience reaction to it in the theater because they were unaware that the film company could even do that kind of structure.
Mhm.
Right. And that's what I think it is for the multiverse, but they're just trying to make it to where the audience will now know what stories are capable of doing. So here we are going back to the very, very beginning to a character that Marvel as a company has always wanted to have, Peggy Carter. What's up, Ham?
What's going on, brother?
Peggy Carter has always been a milestone character. She is a character that Marvel has always wanted to have in the forefront because they've always wanted a strong female lead. And why do I say that? Because they had a Peggy Carter TV show. Did they need a Peggy Carter TV show?
No.
Not at all. Not at all. And I guarantee a lot of people haven't even seen it. A lot of people haven't even seen the Peggy Carter show, which I could recommend because it's pretty good because Peggy Carter as a character is pretty awesome. Pretty awesome to say the least. And I am actually very happy that they've decided to go along and create this what if character with her. Oh, that's pretty freaking cool. Ham's getting more arcades, Marvel versus Capcom.
Heck
That's
yeah,
pretty
man.
badass, man. That is pretty badass. Well, fucking get
Like
it. Get those
like
games out.
original MVC.
Mhm.
That's
Yep,
badass, man.
Get that shit. Get that shit, Ham. Get that Marvel versus Capcom 2. Get it out of the museum, man. Get it out there so we can get it back in public demand. Oh, but going back, Peggy Carter has always been this character that's been in the background for Marvel, and they finally found a way to bring her out in the forefront and make her a hero like the way they wanted to. That's why she's always been talked about in every show. Right? So you go back and you look at it, and even Marvel Endgame, they brought her back and even talked about Brian Braddock, which is fucking Captain Britain. And boom, it just so shows that they talk about Captain Britain, they talk about Peggy Carter, even though it's very, very light, and it's very hard to find that Easter egg in that movie. And now they're over here trying to make the characters both come together. And I think that's what they're going to do with her character. I think that's what they always wanted to do, was make it to where Peggy Carter, the British girl that's teaching American soldiers how to be soldiers, and is the person that teaches Captain America how to be Captain America, where she's going to introduce the Captain Britain Corps, which I still think is a big maybe. I know that the show did not allow us to do the Captain Britain show or Captain Britain storyline because of the way that they had the introduction to how she got the sword. Us not knowing if it's still Shumagorath, which are all things that we called out before the show came out, right?
Yeah.
We said that the sword was going to be from Captain Britain, and we
I really thought that if she was very well either wielding Excalibur or she was wielding the Sword of Might.
Yeah, because of the fact that we thought it was going to be because Hydra is very well known for collecting artifacts of power. So we thought 100% it was going to be one of those pieces, and it wasn't. It just happened to be a sword on the wall, which I thought was
man, and that's why weird. I was kind of like, oh man, you guys kind of missed an opportunity there. But the thing is, we kind of have to trust Marvel a little bit because, the fact that Kevin Feige now not only works with Marvel, but, is very, very involved with the way that its storytelling goes is gives him access to a lot of things, such as their historians who know way more about these comics than you and I both put together.
Fuck yeah.
So, I kind of had like, you kind of just have to trust that they know what they're doing, and it's not always the easiest thing to do. It really isn't, but like, because I mean, they make stupid decisions at times, dumb decisions at times, but I mean, their movies are fucking A1 though.
Yep, they're really, really solid. But for what it's worth, we have this series that's coming out, right? Marvel What If. We're barely on the first episode, and for what it's worth, the series had good pacing and good timing, and it was a very fun episode. But man, is it boring. It's boring because it's 30 minutes of all of this stuff that seems really cool, but it's all shit you kind of knew was going to happen. Right? Because you already know the story.
I was about to say, I was like, you do, but at the same time you don't, because like you and I, yes, we do, because like we know these comics backwards and forwards. You know, like there haven't been too many instances where you and I were like, well, what are they going to do next?
Yep.
What's going to happen here? You know, I think the only one really that really happened with was Falcon and Winter Soldier, because they didn't really have a comic book to draw on.
Yeah, I mean, there was a series that they did, but you could tell it wasn't following it. Because, like I said, the the only thing the Falcon fought in his comic books was racism. And so for them to give him Maddie was so much more different.
Yeah.
But I think the episodes are way too small. I think it's getting to that Loki. It's getting back to those TV show vibes, which I guess are good because it gets us back in the mode of getting back into the routine of Marvel giving us content.
I'm actually kind of glad that they are. And the reason that I say that is because, like, you know, it keeps us wanting more. It has the desired effect.
Yeah.
You know, like, think about it. How much more do you want? You want a lot more. You want it all, right?
I mean, for what it's worth.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'd have to say that exact desire that we're feeling is exactly what they were hitting at.
Oh yeah, I guarantee it.
You know,
that's kind of like their leading force.
Yeah, which is okay. I get it, right? These are just what if stories. They're not, you know, Loki and WandaVision and you know, Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
and
who would have thought that we would have even wanted more of this?
Right, exactly. So that's why, like, you know, these are, you know, these are things that, like, we have and we want more of, but we didn't even know that we wanted more of it because, you know, we'd never been exposed to something like this. And like, now that we have it, we're kind of like, oh dude, like, I can't wait, you know, I can't wait. You know, the thing that's really starting to piss me off now is like the fact that I still haven't gotten a goddamn Spider-Man trailer, you know, and that, yeah, dude, I'm actually kind of frustrated about that because now
how long are we along for the Spider-Man trailer? How long are we for the film?
It comes out in December.
October, November, January, February, March.
So yeah, September, October, November. So September, October, November, December, 4 months. We're 4 months away.
I think we'll probably get one coming up soon because the 4 month time seems to be the most like smartest thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and this shouldn't come out of left field, right? They did this with Infinity War. They did this with that's Sony. That's not Marvel. Those are two completely different companies, and they have very different agendas. And if it does, then it does. But right now, I don't think that they can afford to push it back.
What to Spider-Man to be pushed back?
Yeah.
I doubt it, man. That's already been pushed back enough, man.
Yeah,
they're already dealing with the Black Widow stuff too, man.
Yeah,
so they already have bigger problems.
Yeah. On top of that, like I said, it's two different companies. No, I don't. If it did, then it does. Whatever. Then we have an extra month of marketing if it does happen. Yeah, but that's also a month of marketing that they're going to have to pay for. Which
a month of marketing they're not even doing.
Yeah. So.
They didn't even use a regular month.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, I don't know. It would cost them more not to. Or to push it back. But the thing is that, like, dude, you already have merch dropping for this fucking movie. And you still don't even have a trailer, a poster, a teaser, anything.
Something.
But at the same time, I really shouldn't be all that surprised because, I mean, how many months was it out from Endgame that they gave us a trailer? Like 4 or 5 months.
Yep. Yeah, I think 4 months.
Same thing with Infinity War 2.
Yeah, I think 4 months would be a pretty good time for them to put it out.
Yeah, I mean, and I remember when the Infinity War trailer dropped.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was in the cough, you know, still in the army when that dropped, and dude, we were all like, "Bro, have you seen it? Have you seen it? Have you seen it? Have you seen it?" You know, dude, it was everywhere. I loved it, and then it was nothing but hard charging, fucking straight marketing down your throat. I loved it.
Yep. And that's what I feel like the Spider-Man film they're going to press this shit out of when they start releasing information about it because it's Spider-Man. Because
Oh yeah.
everyone loves fucking Spider-Man. Not me, man. Fuck that dude. I'm not a fan of Spider-Man. The new Spider-Man movie isn't going to have a new trailer, that is completely crazy to even think about, David.
Yeah.
You're going to tell me that one movie in the last, 100 years of Hollywood is not going to get a trailer to introduce itself in some way or to bring in people. The thing is us, the readers and the comic book lovers, we want trailers so that way we can watch and be blown away by what it is that we think is going to be in the film. And a lot of these times people release trailers and they fuck up the film by releasing the trailer because they release too much information, or they put the story in the fucking whole trailer, or they end up getting shit on because they don't put enough information in the trailer.
But that's also where like Marvel's very, very good at never really giving you too much.
Not giving too
They
much.
they give you good action snippets with a smidge salt pepper of story in there. They give you just enough to keep you wanting more.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
a good point.
It's like a drug addict, dude. They give you just enough to make sure you keep coming back.
Just enough to keep you coming back.
Yeah.
I think the reason why they haven't released a trailer is because
right now
it's too much information. Too much information.
I don't think it's too much information. I think it's because this is their big ticket. This is their big ticket movie.
Oh yeah, that's a good
because
point.
It wasn't going to be Black Widow. It damn sure wasn't going to be Black Widow.
And the reason also where I believe that they'll get a trailer is because trailers are kind of meant more for people who don't know the franchise, to make sure we get people making money by bringing in normies that don't read comics. They don't make trailers for the people who love the comics, or they don't make it for the people who love Spider-Man. They make it for people who are 80 years old, sitting at home, not knowing what to do with their money, never heard of Spider-Man in their whole life. That's who they have to. Oh, no, David, you're good. We're not attacking you, but we're just correlating the idea of why there wouldn't be a trailer or whatnot. But
well, yeah, that was like first and foremost, that was immediately dispelled. Immediately. Yeah. Like there were memes about that. They were like, "Oh, Kevin Feige said this." Mm-hmm. JK, he actually never said that. Like, it's just one of those things where people are gonna announce this just to get people riled up.
Yeah, we have to, and then not only that, we want to inform our listeners so that they're a little bit more they're investigative on the idea on how Marvel kind of runs stuff. So that way you don't get caught like a lot of these people that are in Facebook forums talking about how they didn't know Thor was the son of Odin and Marvel is holding secrets and weird shit. People that are misinformed on this subjects. We want to make sure that you're informed so that way it doesn't catch you by surprise when you hear about it. Let me see. What about Task Force X? That'll be in Deadpool.
Yeah.
That'll be in Deadpool, man. It's gonna give people Spider-Man. You think just because of who is coming out is the reason why they aren't giving us anything? Yes.
I think that's I think that's
100%.
I don't think that's 100%. I wouldn't say that's 100% the reason. I think it's a big motivation.
But I don't think what would you do if they release the trailer and you see that the trailer has the Sinister Six, but the Sinister Six is all parts of all the different movies put together, like I
would lose my fucking mind.
Yeah, and then
it would make me want it more.
You would, but think about it in the trailer.
But what you're saying is having an adverse effect.
No, but because he says, do you think that the reason why we haven't gotten much is because of who's in it? And I think that's a big percentage of why we haven't gotten a video about it.
Well, I know, and the reason I know it is.
The reason why is because, like, let's say the trailer comes out and in the first 30 seconds they're like, 4 universes coming together this summer or whatever, like, and all of a sudden it shows the Sinister Six, but it's 2 people from Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man world, then it's 2 guys from Tobey Maguire's, and then 2 guys from Andrew from Tom Hiddleston's or Tom Hardy's or whatever the fuck his name is, the kid from the new one, Tobey Maguire.
Right.
But then it's like, and then all of a sudden in the next scene they show all the Aunt Mays or whatever, which one of them's dead, so I don't know how they're gonna show her unless they CG her ass. And then the other one is they show all the 3 Spider-Man, which 100%. I think the reason also is because they don't want to give the Easter egg that there's going to be 4 Spider-Man because they're going to put in Miles Morales. I think that's going to be a huge reason. I think they don't want to put a lot of information out because they are going to have Miles Morales in this movie.
I would like to think that, and the reason that I would like to think that, but I don't think that it will, is because we're not seeing a lot of Miles Morales in the comic books.
We have in the video game. Mm-hmm. Which I mean, which
all he got though. That's all he got.
Yeah.
If that was just the case, if it was just a video game, then I would be like, oh, okay, cool. He has a video game for sure. He's coming out in the movie.
I know it's a really far stretch, but my reasoning for it is because of the fact that, of course, they had Donald Glover, explain that he has a nephew that, is into this and that. But my thing is, you cannot have the Spider-Verse without Miles Morales.
Yeah, but we're not even being given a confirmation that there is a Spider-Verse there, or that the Spider-Verse will be a prevalent thing.
Well, the whole thing is that's why a lot of people are kind of like that. The Spider-Man story is going to be so important is because it is introducing the Spider-Verse because of what happened in WandaVision and Kang
which
the
I get,
Conqueror
right? Multiverse theory. But at the same time, every time I hear a theory from everybody, I'm always like, cool, I'm going to wait till this comes out. Mm-hmm. Cool, I'm going to wait till this comes out. Because that's all they are. They're only ever just going to be theories until we have like solid concrete anything. And good on Marvel. The last time that they had anything this close to the vest was in Endgame. Yeah. Not even Infinity War, in Endgame.
Well, one that's going to probably be my biggest theory is that the reason why they haven't really given any confirmation on the other Spider-Man being on this film is because they haven't made a call out for the person that's going to be Miles Morales.
They're done filming.
No, I know.
They've been done filming.
But that's why the
movie's coming out in 4 months. How have they not casted him?
They're not going to let people know about Miles Morales yet. But my call is that they will be. There will be a Miles Morales. To be fair, what if a trailer wasn't released and they wouldn't?
That would eventually affect the box office. It's Marvel. People go see it regardless.
Yes, people that know Marvel will go see it, but people that don't know Marvel will not care to want to see it. You have to remember that there's still a diverse audience of people out there who get their information from the internet or right now, especially website and YouTube site.
The MCU is not made for people like me. Yeah. It's not. It is not made for people like me. It is made for people who go and enjoy the movie theater experience.
Yep.
They tailor it with people like me in mind for people like my dad, who are like never going to read the comics, which is cool. It's great. That's amazing. That's also why I have a large concern with the whole multiverse thing, because it's going to throw people for a loop.
Yep.
I don't have to worry about it because I know exactly how the timeline works with Marvel, how time travel works with Marvel, how alternate realities. Yeah, this is all going to be like, okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, cool. 100%. Yeah. That's why, this whole, if Miles Morales comes out in Spider-Man 3, amazing, dude. Cool. I hope it comes out. I hope he makes his appearance. Is it going to kill the movie? Not at all. No. But at the same time, why would you keep such an important thing such as Miles Morales away from a movie that has nothing to do with him?
I think it's just in the fact that it's like if it's a multiverse story, I think that would be an interesting way to bring him in.
It
I think that would
would.
be the best way to bring him in.
I don't. I think that they could do way better with that.
Oh yeah,
I think an even better way would be to do it in Multiverse of Madness, and have it and have elements of Secret Wars taken from that, where he's kept in the 616,
oh Secret
just
Wars,
like
man.
just like the way that it happened in Secret Wars.
But are we going into Secret Wars talk now or what?
Nah, fuck no, dude. That's way too convoluted.
Way
Too convoluted.
I was gonna say because a lot of people don't know that story.
Exactly.
That'll be even worse.
Yeah, but that's why I say take elements from it, not take the story or even Time Runs Out or anything like that. Because if they're gonna do a Secret World, then they gotta do Time Runs Out.
Oh yeah,
Have to do Time Runs Out.
Oh yeah. So we have Marvel What If. The first episode dealt with Captain Carter, right? Which it's the timeline where Peggy Carter did not choose to go and watch the procedure for Steve Rogers. She chose not to see it in the booth. She chose to be out there with the doctors and stuff on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the turning point for the situation.
The Nexus event?
The Nexus event?
That was the Nexus event?
Is that what they're kind of claiming it to be or what?
I'm just saying it.
It's interesting to think about it that way.
Well, I mean,
because they never really explained how big.
Since all the what if stories are alternate timelines, the alternate timelines essentially have to have a Nexus event that makes them shift, right?
Yeah.
It's just the fact that like when Immortus was killed, that shift makes those little Nexus events actually come to fruition. At least in my mind, it does. I could be completely wrong, but at the same time, like think about it. Like if that's the case, and they've already fucking canonized what if, may as well consider that a Nexus event.
You want to know what I was thinking? With the stories and stuff of this, I actually believe these to be the worlds that Doctor Strange visited when he saw the different outcomes.
I don't think so, because like if that was the case, then I mean it already happened. Like what does it matter? They've already all but stated that what if is a product of what happened in Loki.
Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like I know the timeline that they're speaking of, but the reason why I wanted to believe that was the situation was because it deals with Doctor Strange, and the only time that we've seen Doctor Strange go into the past or go into like a different alternate world was when he went to go see all the 4 million different worlds that he visited to see how Endgame would end, right? And it just so happens that the time in the story that it's saying that he decided to visit was his car accident. The car accident is the time that he went back and the Ancient One told him about all the different timelines or whatever, which to me is almost like Doctor Strange's Nexus event when he wrecked the car. Because if he wasn't driving fast, he wouldn't have wrecked, and he would have never messed up his hands, and he would have never became Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see that the part where Doctor Strange becomes more relevant to the timeline is when he's there in the hospital, but that might be the story for the evil Doctor Strange, which I'm really not even familiar with how he becomes evil without selling his soul in the market.
Oh yeah.
So I don't even think it's gonna be one of those but he does have a cape like Dormammu. So maybe he's got like a thing with Dormammu. Maybe he makes a plea with Dormammu and Dormammu gives him power.
Who knows, dude? It's one of those things where like we're so far out from Doctor Strange, even what is it? Even commenting on like what could be is still going to be a shot in the dark.
Oh, dude, definitely. This is a really crazy shot in the dark. I mean, even with that, like, we have our next episode for the What If series, and it's about T'Challa, Star Lord, right? When he becomes Star Lord.
Mm-hmm.
What is even the reason for him to be Star Lord?
Who the fuck knows, dude? These are all goddamn Nexus events, and so that's why I'm like, or these are all what if stories. This is why, like, I never gave any real like credence to what if stories because they're all what ifs. They are not canon. So that's why, like, you know, like, oh, what happened?
Well, you can't say they're not canon because they're going to be canon now
in the MCU.
It's. I think it's still super crazy.
They ain't canon in the comics.
No, not at all.
I know, and that's what I care about. I don't give a shit about.
But you watch
what
now.
They are in the MCU.
You watch now. Now they're going to be canon in the comics.
Bullshit.
Yeah, they'll start making what if comics that are going to be like this. I just saw in the comic book somewhere that they were doing something based off of the comics. I'm based off of the films.
The only actual what if story that became that became mainline is the zombies.
Oh, and the zombie storyline is still kind of like a question because the Marvel Zombies universe multiverse thing or whatever you want to call it, it is an interesting story, but a garbage story nonetheless.
Most of the what if stories are garbage stories.
Yeah. And it wasn't really a what if story, the Marvel universe. It was its own multiverse on its own thing. And but still almost like a what if story.
Exactly. That's why I was kind of like, you know.
Yeah, but since they're bringing it out here in the what if storyline, that's what's kind of confusing to me because I really doubt they're going to do a Marvel Zombies film.
I hope that they don't. I hope that they don't make any of these films. I don't. I really don't. And like the reason that I don't is because, like I said, dude, none of these are fucking canon. Like they shouldn't need to be canon.
Well, I mean, it's like I said earlier, the Captain Carter storyline has been talked about for years in the Marvel universe.
Oh, yeah, I'm aware of that, which is like, I mean, it is what it is, right? You know, whether I want it to be or not is completely irrelevant to these fucking people.
Yeah, for the Marvel what if stories, I think that a lot of the what ifs are going to be like Marvel's way of going back and doing things that they weren't allowed to do or that they were shunned upon for doing or even trying. And this is them trying to initiate it into the universe without having a big repercussion.
That's exactly what they were in the fucking comic books. The writers taking the story their way instead of the editor's way and being like, this is what would have been cool if we did things this way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was always like, okay, cool. I accepted the what if comics for exactly what they were. Just what ifs. There were one-offs, easily written off. Like my favorite what if story is in World War Hulk if Hulk had died instead of Kyra and she becomes and she takes the rest of, was it like the old power or something like that? Mm-hmm. And she goes to Earth and she just fucking annihilates it.
Yeah, I know. I remember that story. Yeah, I feel like this is their way of being able to go back and add things to the stories without there being repercussions. Like you look at it and, you know, I keep going back to this, but the Peggy Carter episode, it was done so well. And Peggy Carter, the way they animated her fighting and doing that, man, she kicked so much ass. The fight between whatever that the way Red Skull says it is, it's their champion, the Shumagorath character. And do I think it's Shumagorath right now? No, I don't
either. From what I've read and what I've seen, even the cutscenes,
it was more of like a Kraken.
I think it's a mini angled one, but I don't think it was Shimogara.
Yeah, I don't think it was Shimogorath though. I even want to kind of say that it was the Hydra of Greek mythology. Minus the fact that it
it's
didn't.
not. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility, right? It is
Well, minus
100%
the fact that it didn't grow its limbs back.
right.
Yeah, so a Hydra is cut one off and it grows two more. Yeah,
and
this
it's
one
more of
didn't
a
grow
dragon
anything. It just
thing.
died. Yeah, it would just pieces would just fall off. But
But nonetheless, like we got what we got. Now to move forward with it, right? We move forward with the rest of whatever is going to be, in What If. Now, like for me, like I would actually like to see the Spider-Man, Sorcerer Supreme episode.
well, yeah, we're gonna get that in a couple episodes. But the Carter episode, what it does is it initiates the idea of them bringing back Peggy Carter with the way they always wanted to. Right?
Well, they
the
did.
actress Haley Atwell coming in to repose her character as Captain America. There's even like there was even like an episode of Peggy Carter where she's fighting with the Howling Commandos, and she's wearing let me see if I can find it real quick. Atwell Howling Commandos. There's even like an image of her where she had the shield in one of the episodes and she was with the Howling Commandos. But yeah, it's this episode. I'll show it to you later. If not, I can put it in the episode later. Yeah, I'm gonna say I'll put the website so in the post right here. Yeah, there it is. It's in the friends comments section with the Howling Commandos, right? And she was supposed to repose her role as Peggy Carter going to go save some dudes with the Howling Commandos, which you'll remember that a lot of the times in in the comic books, it was Captain America that was with the Howling Commandos.
Yep.
Yeah, so for them to even switch out the idea that Peggy Carter was in there instead is interesting to say the least. And then it just so happens that the next episode in the What If episode is going to be Star-Lord T'Challa. Then it's going to be Loki invades Earth. Then Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme. Then Thor, which I don't understand why there's a Party Thor episode. Why they call it Party Thor. Killmonger and Stark. Marvel Zombies, Gamora and Stark, and Infinity Age of Ultron. There is the Star-Lord episode that comes next, and then in 2 more episodes after that, it's the Killmonger episode, which it just so happens that that's probably one of the biggest talking points for Marvel is what are they going to do with the death of Chadwick Boseman and the life of T'Challa.
Well, you just said the next. I mean, yeah, you just said the next episode is going to be him as Star-Lord, right?
That's just him as Star-Lord. So what they're doing is I kind of feel like this is Marvel's way of saying, and we talked about this too, right? When Chadwick Boseman died, we talked about, well, how can they fix the idea that T'Challa's not there anymore and Chadwick Boseman is not the actor, and they need to reprise the role or replace him or do something. What can they do if the character just recently came back, right? And I said, well, you send this character off into space. You send this character off into space because you don't need to give an explanation. If the next series comes up for Black Panther, and in the first part of the Black Panther, you put T'Challa in the costume talking to Shuri, and Shuri's like, brother, where are you going or whatever? And he's like, I'm going to space because that's where I'm needed. So you're going to have to carry on the name without me. Don't worry, let the forefathers guide you and blah, blah, blah. You're Black Panther from here on out. And you don't even have to show his face. You could just have him in the Black Panther outfit.
I wouldn't like that personally.
Nobody would, man, because it just doesn't feel like a good enough send off for the character.
Well, first and foremost, if you're gonna pay respect to the character, then continuity wise, you should pay respect to the character. You know, um, Chadwick Boseman really appreciated what T'Challa was. You know, T'Challa was all about Wakanda. Everything that he did was Wakanda first. I am a king first, and I am an Avenger second, right? And so, like the whole like, even if they were to be like, oh well, this is where I'm needed, I would immediately be like, no, this is trash. This is crap.
Intergalactic Wakanda.
Yeah, no, and that's like the worst fucking Black Panther series
Story
ever written. And so I hope that they don't do that. I really hope that that just stays a theory. And,
well, I mean, it just if they do something like that, which they kind of are going in that direction with this, they could always say that it's part of the like the Illuminati story. No, the Ultimates, right? Which is what I've talked about before with America Chavez and Marvel and all of them being in space. Nick Fury is in space. He's with Sword, which is where he's been left off. So for T'Challa to join them and be a member of that organization to watch space because he wants to keep an eye for Wakanda out on space with these dudes wouldn't be too far fetched for what it is. But this deals with more of T'Challa being a child going to space with Star-Lord's people with his with the Ravagers and all that stuff, right? Which is what's his face from Peter Quill's story?
Mickey
Yondu.
Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker, yeah, Yondu's character, believing that T'Challa was the son of Ego and stuff like that, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me because apparently Peter Quill had like a location beacon to where this kid would be when he was, and you know when his mother Mary dies or whatever.
Plus, Ego goes and finds Yondu to like tell him it's this one.
Yeah,
you know, there isn't like a, oh, is it this kid or is it not?
Yeah, which so that kind of confuses me on the sense of like why T'Challa would be picked up instead of Peter Quill, right?
I guess we'll find out next week.
We'll have to find out when the show comes out. But
tune in next week.
I like that everything's purple. His whole get up is purple. It's all Wakanda based or whatever. I think that it'll probably start off with the idea of him being picked up because Wakanda is going to be like a star base where like anybody that wants to come into the the world has to kind of enter in through Wakanda because of like intergalactic space travel through there or whatever. That's what I feel, and that's when they pick up T'Challa, who's out in the opening. But I didn't know they were going to do 2 episodes where one episode was going to be T'Challa, the other one was going to be Killmonger. And it just so happens that the episode of Killmonger is them making him look good. Them turning him like into a good guy, helping Tony Stark, him helping Wakanda later, in probably the same universe that T'Challa left for space. And then Killmonger eventually getting the Black Panther outfit. So they found, this goes back to what we talked about during that Chadwick Boseman episode, where they have found a way to make Killmonger Black Panther. They brought him back and they made him into the hero, where a lot of people are like, oh, they should just have Michael B. Jordan be the new Black Panther because he did it so well.
Yeah, they
literally found a way to do it. They literally found a way to do it without us even knowing, because we totally looked past that. And who would have thought that the Nexus event would be put Killmonger and Iron Man? I never even thought about that, but it makes sense. But yeah, there's a lot of things that the What If stories are going to kind of bring into fruition. Age of Ultron, with them bringing in Ultron and Vision. It really brings back probably the greatest villain that Marvel's ever had. I think Ultron was one of the best villains that that Marvel ever had when it came to its storytelling. The
Yeah,
reason
he
why is because he was the most unforgiving villain that they had in the stories. He was
yeah,
the one that
next to
he,
Thanos, pretty much.
yeah, man, he was so like he knew it. I think the way that people have said it is this dude was barely born and spent 5 minutes on the internet and knew that humanity needed to be wiped out.
Yeah.
He knew it, man.
He was
So,
like, y'all are some bad motherfuckers, dude.
some horrible ass people, man. I gotta put you down.
Yup.
So,
And I get it, man. I get it.
yeah, me too. I do. But yeah, it just so happens that a lot of these what if stories are kind of coming to, coming to put into perspective all the things that Marvel uh, had done and is fixing. I don't know how they're going to fix Party Thor. I really don't know why they have a Party Thor thing going on. Or Loki invades Earth. The third film is going to be What If Loki Invades Earth, which is going to be Loki shows up with the Tesseract and he's like coming in with the army of Asgard. And it goes pretty far, man, from what I've seen in the trailers, which is interesting. But where do we feel like Marvel What If is going to take? Where do we feel like it's going to take us?
I don't know, dude. Like I said, my hopes weren't all that high for this fucking series, and still didn't really change.
No.
No.
I kind of have an idea that with all of these things that are going on with Marvel What If, it's really going to be a really good introduction to the What If series, but season 2 will probably be the maker. Like it's going to be the thing that makes this series a little bit bigger. And this will be a really strong introduction for like Battle World, Secret War, and all that stuff. Because right now, you can use Marvel What If to fix Secret Invasion.
Well, Secret Invasion's already coming,
Yeah,
regardless
but
of what
the
if
thing is it doesn't make a lot of sense.
at the moment
At
because
the
we
moment, yeah,
haven't. Yeah, but that's only because we haven't even gotten all of the story leading up to Secret Invasion.
yeah, but like with that story, like we know that the scrolls are supposed to be villains. But with the
Yeah,
way Captain America or Captain Marvel made the story, it made it like they're refugees that aren't villains at all.
yeah, which I'm okay with. Really, I am.
It even
You
took
know,
like the
and
most hardcore scroll character, which was the main one, which is
Super Scroll.
no the main scroll guy that was the villain. He
Oh
was the one that
yeah,
worked with the queen in the story,
yeah.
and it was a pretty bad guy. He was one of the most villainous Kree characters, generals that they had.
Oh, Jan Rug.
No, no, no.
Are you talking about with the Kree or the Scroll?
The scroll?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Talos.
Yeah.
Yeah, Talos's character. He's one of the most well-known scroll characters in the comic books, and he's pretty bad. And he works alongside the Queen when it comes to Secret Invasion. He's like one of the biggest villains in that story. And then it just so happens that Marvel makes him a good guy, like working alongside Nick Fury, being homies with Captain Marvel and all of this other stuff. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed for the Secret Invasion to work. Because, I mean, I wouldn't be the only person to think that, how do you even do a Secret Invasion if the scrolls are all good? Like, how do you even do it? And then they don't even mention the Queen, which the scrolls are very are very impressionable about. Yeah,
Yeah,
like it's
they're
just
like bees.
yeah,
You know.
it's a very very hive mind. So for Talos's group of scrolls to be without the queen and to be acting on their own and all this other stuff, like it's very out of character for those characters. So, where does it put the idea of the scroll queen coming back and making the characters all like, whoa, let's get them, let's turn into villains and be all Secret Invasion and shit? And there's not even a Captain Marvel for them to even change into, which the what if story could probably fix. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
What if introduced the Nova Corps? Would that introduce you? Would that encourage you more to watch the show and like it?
Why would it have to be introduced in What If? That's a mainline story, not
Yeah.
a What If story. If they
Yeah, I mean,
introduced that, if they introduced a mainline story in a What If story,
mhm.
that'd be the dumbest thing ever.
My
Stupidest
friend
thing ever.
Big John is in the comments and he says, I think that Marvel What If will connect the different storyline to the different storyline of Marvel Comics to show all the characters. That'll probably be in the show, right? And they have already shown the Watcher, who is a narrator. I also think that they will connect the future movies. That is, talk about the Captain Carter, Captain Britain movie. I don't know if they'll make a Captain Britain movie though.
I don't.
I don't
think
really
they
think
will.
that she has the chops to carry a whole film.
Not like that.
Animated is not too bad, but to carry a whole film of Captain Britain would be a little bit rough.
Especially with her character being introduced as the antithesis of Captain America.
Yeah.
It would be storyline. It would make no sense.
How's it going, Random Rick? He says I would rather watch a Captain Caveman movie.
Yeah. Honestly,
Well, yeah,
probably
man.
would too.
I don't think having a Captain Marvel or Captain Carter movie would be all of that fantastic. I really, really don't. What's up, Random Rick? For what it's worth, I think the animated film is going all right. I think for what it's worth, I think the Captain Carter story is being told in such a marvelous way in the animated films that you can't go wrong. I think the fucking fighting is amazing. The animated fight scenes that they have are so good. Um, you can't go wrong with this style of storytelling.
Yeah, you really can't.
You know, there's still some amazing shit that's going to be coming out, which is the multiverse of madness. Which again, Shuma Gorath, Captain, what's her face? What's her fucking name? America Chavez and all those people have been sworn to come out in, which is something that we're still waiting for with Spider-Man and stuff like that. Thanks, dude. The Street Fighter background with the pocket fighters. Yeah, it's a big thing in my life. I think Street Fighter and Pocket Fighters is a great game, and I wanted to make sure people knew that we had that going on. So yeah, man, thank you so much. But yeah, the Marvel What If is a great storyline. We really dug it. Couldn't ask for anything more from the Marvel universe. Where we see it going, I really don't know. I don't know what Marvel has in order with all of this stuff. I know that they're going to be bringing in action or bringing into storytelling a lot of stuff they haven't touched base on. So yeah, for now we'll just have to wait and see. You know, like we did for Captain Carter, which was a fun storytelling, and now we have T'Challa coming up. Which what do we feel is going to be the storytelling for the T'Challa storyline?
I don't know, man. You know, it's one of those things where I don't want to have a theory for it because I just want to see.
It's hard.
You know, well, it's not that it's hard. I just don't want to have a theory for it because I want to take that one in completely as is.
As is.
You know, the death of Chadwick Boseman was a huge effect on the both of us, and
Everybody.
I think that making a theory video about like that particular episode is kind of one of those things where I'm like, you know, dude, I don't want to do it because I just want to know exactly what it is that they're going to do, regardless of anything that they're going to try and do with the story later on. Cool, dude, whatever. I just really, really just want to see what it is that they do to reintroduce Chadwick into the story because I mean, we haven't seen him in Marvel anything since Endgame. And even then, you know, he only had a handful of lines.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Jeremy put he doesn't even want to see a dance off. That's for sure. I think more backstory of how the plant flower came to be or the history of Wakanda. Whoa, that would be interesting, man.
They
You know, I got to go back and see Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and I was very torn on the idea that Marvel never acknowledged the flower that the dad put on the planet, and then it fucking blew up into that big blob and like ate Dallas or wherever it was at.
yeah.
Like nothing was ever talked about it. You know, it never came up in future movies of the Avengers being like, whoa, well, what about that big fucking blob shit that
The
attacked
world,
this
the
part?
country the other
Yeah,
day.
man. Like it even killed some fucking people.
Yeah, man.
So like you know, for them to go back and explain the plant and how society came and tried to understand it and stuff like that, that would be really, really cool.
That I don't know. To me, like I think that certain like events for I guess the Avengers are just like not all that like important, you know, or like they don't give all that credence to because sometimes like I feel like it's kind of like in Spider-Man, they're like, this is an Avengers level threat. This is an Avengers level threat, you know,
Yeah.
something kind of like that. And then but then, you know, you're right, you know, kind of been like, well, there's a blob in, you know, enveloping oh man,
Thanks,
thanks
Soda
Soda
Party
Party Network,
Network. I like that name, Soda Party Network. That's a
right?
fucking cool name. That is so
Um
so cool.
I'm gonna give
Thanks,
these
man.
guys a follow right
Shout out
now.
to you too. Shout out to your network. Shout out to Soda Party. Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
I've already given you guys a like. And
Nice.
you know, like yeah, I mean you would think that a fucking random plant blob enveloping Dallas or whatever
Yeah, wherever
would
it was
be
at.
an Avengers level threat, you know. But I guess not. They're like, the government will take care of that one.
And not only that, because it was throughout different parts of the universe too. Because there was other parts of the universe that had that plant that was established.
Yeah, man, you don't think that fucking Captain Marvel would have been like, hey, a few years ago, did you guys have some weird plants kind of trying to kill your planet the other day?
Yeah,
You know,
that was very weird. In Age of Ultron, Wakanda's mentioned, but when Wakanda was discovered, when was the plant that Black Panther uses to get to Earth and the source of vibranium and adamantium? Well, they haven't really explained adamantium. They've explained vibranium, but vibranium's always been such a really convoluted item and essential piece to the Marvel universe that it's really never explained its value across the galaxies because Wakanda is apparently like the only place you can get it.
yeah.
Like there's no other place in the galaxy with vibranium, which is shit. Um, for them to mention Wakanda in Age of Ultron, that's really good. But the crazy thing about it is later on in, I want to say Civil War, T'Challa ends up opening the borders up to the rest of the world. So that way they can get a better understanding of the country or whatever. So it's I think for them to have to explain more of Wakanda, I think that'll probably explained in it'll probably be better explained in Black Panther 2 for them to go into the history and then research and push a little bit farther on the older variations of Black Panther, right? The father and whatnot and its ancestors. But I don't think it would be good to be done this way. I don't know the plant you're talking about that Black Panther uses to get to Earth.
The heart-shaped herb.
But that was already established by Ball, wasn't it? On Earth?
I can't remember.
Yeah, because that comes from the god, the tiger, the Black Panther god.
Bast.
Yeah, Bass. There you go. It comes from them, so that's already here on the planet. But I don't know if the flower's enriched by vibranium's magical properties or whatever.
Well, in the MCU, that's kind of like the hint that they give you is that yeah, like the whatchamacallit, the vibranium did something to the plant life there and made the heart-shaped herb.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that. That's why I was like, I can't remember if that's what's going on here in the Marvel universe, but it's not
Yeah,
really
it's one of
explained
those
too
things
much.
where like it really could be either or.
Mhm.
You know, you'd really kind of just have to like really find that out. But so far as we're aware, no.
Yeah, I really can't say it's one of the things that I've ever even heard of actually. For what it's worth, I know the plant was already on the planet. Um and I think it was established by the Panther God because that's where the powers kind of explain that it comes from, right? Because the Panther God has to explain to its people who take the flower like what it is that they're taking and whatnot. And the forefathers of the Black Panther explain it too. So that's why I don't think that comes from space or whatever. But vibranium, yeah, that came from an asteroid that landed on Wakanda like many years ago, and the Wakandans have been able to take the technology that they've learned from it. Which man, it's so weird because it's just a plant. It's not even a plant, right?
I
It was
think
like
it
just a
is.
mineral or material. It's so confusing, man. Vibranium has been one of the most confusing things to me when it comes to the Marvel universe. Adamantium, not so much because it's just an item. It's just a thing that you can fucking come across, and there's only a couple people that know how to fix it or know how to use it and play with it. But
Well,
man, vibranium and unatanium and what's the Marumasa made out of? Unatanium?
fuck, what is the Muramasa blade? I thought it wasn't made out of anything special. It's just that the curse that's on it
Yeah,
that makes it the way that it is.
it's the blade is made with a material that doesn't allow people with healing factors to get their shit back.
Yeah.
And I thought it was
Um,
unatanium. The movies, the Marvel universes and comic books are so weird with names. It's so weird the names that they chose for these things. Unatanium, that it's unattainable. That's so funny. But
yeah, no, it doesn't say what they're made out of.
yeah.
But
But
what you call it? But adamantium is like it doesn't occur in nature, right? So um but it does have like trace elements of like vibranium in it, but adamantium is more dense. So like given the right circumstances, you can actually pierce vibranium with adamantium.
pierce vibranium with adamantium.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I mean, because also vibranium consists of the vibration and the action of it being energy. So if
Yeah.
you attack it slowly, you should be able to kind of whip it.
Well, this is like where science blends in with comics, right? It's just it's the fact that adamantium has is an alloy with is a mixed alloy with steel and vibranium and another catalyst that makes it adamantium.
Mhm. Oh man, the science of Marvel's metals, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you that much.
And then supposedly fucking Iron Man just created a new suit that's stronger than both um adamantium and vibranium.
What the hell? What's it called?
I'm trying to find it out actually.
Well, all I know is that they're coming out with a new book called The Darkhold, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were just talking about that earlier, so it's not anything too bad. I think that the reason why they're coming out with a comic book called The Darkhold is because of the popularity and what is coming with the Wanda show and all that stuff, and they want to kind of bring in more people and at least give some type of acknowledgement to the Darkhold because there's none really. John says, "Do you think Thanos' weapon was made of adamantium to break Captain America's shield in Endgame?" No, I mean, for what it's worth, could it be? Yeah, like I mean, it could be something that they found in space that's like a vibranium also.
Yeah,
But for what it's worth, a lot of the things that are human based,
I think what happened was just pure brute force, because I
yeah,
mean we've seen pure brute force puncture and break that shield before.
yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I kind of feel like it's just the Marvel world when it comes to the idea that like anything in the world, anything on Earth is fantasy to Earth, right? But the
Hmm.
moment we leave Earth, like anything can happen. You know what I mean?
That's why I really like Rocket Raccoon's talks with Tony Stark, where he's like, you know, I did this when I was like 6, right? And he's like, yeah, you know, you're only a genius on this planet,
On
right?
this planet.
Yeah. He's like,
Yeah,
chill
that's what I
out,
kind of
bro.
feel
Like
like. It's
he's like, he's like, I know 6-year-olds who create better tech than you do. Chill out.
that's why I like to see Thanos break the shield. I was very like, oh fuck, but it was never in the fact that I was watching it and saying like, oh, how did he break vibranium with that?
Yeah,
You know what I
no.
mean? It was
Yeah,
never
that
like that.
wasn't.
I just kind of took it for what it's worth. Like, oh man, he fucked it up. It's Thanos. He's supposed to.
Hmm. That's exactly what I took it as. I was like, oh, okay. That's a Thanos move. Like, he would have done that.
Yeah. So what else we got coming on, man?
Well, I mean, mangas are on break right now, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, I kind
So,
of saw that with My Hero Academia.
yeah,
Really
323,
disappointed.
um, Black Clover,
Mhm.
One Piece, all the big shonens
Do you
right now
feel
are
like
on break.
Peggy Carter's gonna get her dance?
Fuck it, dude. If Steve Rogers didn't, why should she?
Well, he did at the end of Endgame after he broke the timeline.
Yeah, it only took him 90 years though.
Yeah, but what's that in the sense of time?
90 years.
90 years done in like 3 days.
Right.
Do you think she'll get her dance? Because like she has the same. I know you haven't really been able to see the whole episode in full, but she also has a whole like. I could give you a dance, Rogers, but it's going to be in on Saturday. Blah
Yeah.
blah blah.
Who knows, dude? You know, I think it's sometimes I really really think that um sometimes I really really feel like people kind of read into to certain situations a little bit too much.
Too much.
And the reason that I say that is because, you know, just because something is featured or something is talked about doesn't necessarily always have to mean that there's an underlying connection. Sometimes things just play homage to other things, you know, just to give recognition to being like, hey, you remember this event? Well, here's this event again, you know, or here's us recognizing a very very pivotal moment in that. And that's just them recognizing the event and them paying homage to it, not like,
Mhm.
oh, she said that, bro, there you go, end game
In game.
reconfirmed, Peggy Carter, Avengers Assemble, there you go. That's the like logic thinking of a lot of theorists nowadays, and that's kind of what frustrates me, is that everyone tries to find an underlying meaning to everything instead of taking certain things at face value, or just taking things and being like, hey, that's a nice nod to like this moment, or that's a nice nod to this.
I do believe in 100% of what you're saying, man. So we got Robert going and saying, "Hey, man, before the show, what do you guys feel about Sony purchasing Crunchyroll?"
uh
I thought it was Funimation.
Bold. Sony owns Funimation.
So Sony owns Funimation.
Yeah.
Damn, boy.
Yeah. I mean, congrats to them, I guess. You know, Sony's trying to be the next Disney, and you know, I guess not have Disney monopolize things.
Mhm.
Whatever. From what I'm hearing, is that Crunchyroll and Funimation are going to rebrand and rename themselves into a single entity.
What are they going to name themselves?
Fuck
What do
if
you
I
think
know.
they'll name themselves?
Crunchy Fun. I don't know.
Crunchy Fun. Fun of
Fun Crunchy.
Crunchy.
Yeah, right. Fun Crunchy.
Fun of Crunchy. Fun of Roll.
Right. Fun Roll.
And then Jeremy also put that Batman 89 and Danny DeVito's co-writing an 80th
If villains,
Villains Penguin comic,
uh,
which I
I
didn't
would
know I needed,
right.
because that sounds super great, because the Danny DeVito Penguin was probably one of the greatest on film Batman supervillains I've ever seen in my life. And that dude without special effects looked the part,
Mm-hmm.
which was creepy as fuck. Pee Wee Herman was his father, which was referenced in the Batman television show, right?
Mhm.
Gotham. They brought back all of those actors for to bring back the Penguin, which, man, dude, was so good. But yeah, man, I think that's great. I think Batman 89 is probably one of the best Batmans. The Tim Burton, uh, Michael Keaton Batman is probably one of the coolest stories ever told, and needs to be rewritten, needs to be retold.
And the fact that
Um,
Vicky Vale was like the love interest,
mhm,
for the first one was so cool. Because
mhm.
you like never see her ever.
Nope. I think it's going to be great. For them to bring back Michael Keaton and all these actors to bring them back at the Flash movie, which I don't know what to think about the Flash movie yet. They haven't really released too much, but they keep pushing it back. And again, these pushbacks are probably the worst things that could happen to films right now. Robert put no, bro. They bought it for like 1.7 billion, 1.385 billion or something. Good on them. They have the money. I don't. Her character Vicky Vale or Valerie was in the 1940s, maybe 1930s show or comic book. She was probably a love interest to Batman's back then, but it was never
She was,
as
yeah, like he
yeah
dated her. That's a known thing. Yes, they dated at one point.
yeah
But
again.
yeah, it's just still you never see her. The last time I heard Vicky Vale's name, I think was in fucking Arkham Knight,
Arkham Knight.
and like she happens to like give you a mission or some shit like that.
Yep,
That's like it.
that's super crazy, man. Yeah, because like I said, this goes back to what we were talking about really a while back at the beginning of the show, where I said that's why I think 100% Batman is probably one of the best series for people to kind of explore relationships, because Batman's character's kind of been about that his whole life. And they kind of did it with
I don't know.
Dick Grayson.
I kind of think he's a toxic boyfriend.
Oh, dude, definitely toxic boyfriend.
It's like if we're
Toxic
gonna be
relationship.
honest, dude. That guy should
dicks and
never be in a
everything, man.
relationship.
Yeah, swinging dicks and everything, man. Just having him stand in the shadows with his dick out and stuff.
And with that being said, dude, don't get me wrong, dude. Like if he does one thing right at all, he brings in kids who can pull. Oh, dude, all of them kids
All
run
them kids
game,
could
bro.
fucking throw.
Yeah, all of
They
them
got
kids
smoked,
run
man.
game, dude. Jason Todd more so than anybody, dude. He fucks everybody.
Yep.
Everybody. Barbara, Starfire, Raven, dude. He fucks them all, bro.
Yeah, he's going in.
He's
for the
like,
power,
"Are you
man.
PG-18? Get your little ass over here."
I mean, Batman's son, fucking, what's his face, trying to bang the devil's daughter.
Yeah, dude.
That's so fucking crazy.
He's like,
though.
"What's up, girl?
What's
You know who my
good?"
dad is? Bruce Wayne. Cut."
Yeah, but going back to it, they really do explore a lot of the relationships when it comes to these characters in the Batman universe, because they're more relatable, because they're more human based, I guess. They're more, no powers and always emotional and stuff. So for them to go into the whole Tim Drake's buy, I think it's an interesting. Um,
I saw this as very divisive, and the reason that I say that is because like some people in the LGBTQ community were like, "Cool, man, thanks for like putting in a character like that in the Bat family," and I'm like, "Well, you had Cassandra Cain; she's a known
Yep.
lesbian,
Yep.
but
Batwoman.
okay." And then yes, I know who all the Robins are. And then they add this, and I was kind of like, well, I mean, you already had Cassandra Cain, but whatever, dude. I mean, I guess you needed some male representation in that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's what I think they went for. And they
But
need
at the same time, I've also seen some LGBTQs and so like in the community and some avid comic book readers who are like, this is a cop out because the fact that we're they're not making a brand new character who happens to be gay or happens to be bi is so cheap, and they need to roll over a pre-existing character and give them that orientation
but this has
to
always been a
have.
problem with the comics in the first place.
Oh,
That's what
I
they
know.
do. They take the pop. The thing is they try to reach for the most popular character,
Oh, I'm aware. I'm
and
aware.
then they say, hey, you know what? It just so happens that all the years that we've built this guy up, him being white, him being living a person the life of a white person. Uh, Now that he's 28 and we're gonna make a movie, he's black, like straight up black. And I'm like, wait a minute, are you telling me that a character that has been primarily white his entire life, has lived life as a white person his entire life, is going to have the same type of life as a black person and living in that environment? I mean, I would 100% probably say no. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So
Hmm.
like when they tell me that they're taking a character and making it some other way, I always take into consideration, okay, well, how can this change the person's life continuity wise? If you take any ginger character, like you take what are some of the characters that they fucking changed colors of in the last couple of months? Let's look at Static Shock's entrance, right? Static Shock's probably one of the most prevalent black characters in the last, 50 years of comic book writing. Today, he still has such a huge fan base, and it's not primarily just people who read comic books. It's based on a whole community of children who saw him in cartoons and all this other stuff. They had a very, very good introduction to his character with the idea that his character started off in street gangs and bought a gun, to defend himself from someone that was bullying him that
Oh,
was in the
dude,
street gang.
that was a hard hitting episode. What I
It
loved
fucking
most,
was
what I
because
liked
it was
most was the fact
relatable.
that they gave you a message afterwards.
Mhm.
Like after the episode was done, they kind of had like their like little post credit scene, and they're like, "Hey, man, bullying's not cool. Don't do it."
Yeah,
And
don't
if
do
you
it.
see someone getting bullied, stand up for them, and
Help them
like
out.
alert somebody. Shit like that, dude. I really really thought that it was a very beautiful episode, because dude, his friend gets shot. His best friend is shot, and goes to the hospital and stuff like that. He lives, by the way, but
Yeah.
still, like the fact that there's like some sort of collateral damage in the episode, and Static doesn't exactly know how to like deal with that.
Yep.
Much less the kid, who's forced into the situation that he's forced into because of bullies.
hmm And those characters have to then correlate and come to terms with the situation that they've been put in, right? But the story of Static Shock then doesn't really change much from there, because it correlates with the life of a kid growing up in the streets in like Detroit, which is something that if you've grown up there, you correlate, and it's very, very relatable because it's probably something you've gone through or something that you've kind of come close to. Where recently in comic books, they've changed it to be where, oh, and then they're at a gang fight, and the gang fight is broken up by police, and police are using these new age like crowd control items for like to dispute gang violence or whatever, like riot shit, right? They're using that on the kids, and then it pushes them into like a I mean just normal shit. But then the kid Static Shock ends up going into this river that's all poisonous or whatever, and that's how he gets his powers. It's very like Daredevil, very Ninja Turtles, or he's contacted by the ooze or whatever, right?
Mhm.
Where nowadays they've changed the story completely to be where he's at a Black Lives Matter movement and he's a protester protesting. I don't know what he's protesting, which is um black crime or white on black violence or whatnot. But the story of what has created his character to be a hero has changed because of his life, his expectancies of life. Like they're not the same as the situation that he was at prior. So the way he views life and the way he views his justice is not morally the same. One of them is based on the fact of the crowd telling him on how he needs to think. You know, him being too young to be a part of the whole situation, and how the media implies on how he needs to act to these certain environments. Where the first time it was 100% him dealing with the situation at hand as a child with the other person that was part of the situation. And then what it is the police comes in and shoots this like Agent Orange shit into the crowd, which poisons half of the crowd and gives a couple of them superpowers, which is how he gets his superpowers. Again, those situations are two different movements, even though they're super similar. The life lessons are different. You know, Starfire being an alien, and then being that on the television show she's a black woman, not an alien. Different life experiences. When she was created at first in the Teen Titans saw her and she was orange and that she could fly, they automatically knew she wasn't from this planet. Where now she's just a black girl and they're like, "What? You're black? Where are you from?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm from space or whatever." Life expectancies, just life lessons are just different. So what it's worth is the life lessons that the characters have to go through are so much more different and they need to be established correctly. So Tim Drake, being that he's bisexual now, what are they saying that his life as a Robin is what turned him to this life of being associated to being attracted to homosexuality or male counterparts?
I'd hope
How does
not, because I mean,
how does that put him
it,
with the other Robins or with Batman when they all change into their costumes or when he sees Batman, you know, without a shirt or whatnot? How does that? How does he deal with these situations, or him being in the Teen Titans in general, being that they had to live together for so long? You know, how does it put them in those situations? Who would he be more associated to being with in the sense of relationships? Tim, I mean, I think for who it is that they chose for this character or for this thing, I think it's a perfect choice. Tim Drake, since he's always the most quiet Robin. His
yeah,
character
because
needs a lot of
he's also
base
the
on.
fucking smartest one.
Yeah, but he
He's
always needs a
he's
lot of
in,
base when it comes to character development because he really doesn't have a lot of it. Or he probably does. I just haven't read enough for character development.
I was about to say, I was like, he
Yeah.
really does, but that's only because Tim Drake just happens to be my favorite Robin.
But you know what? Like we always talk about it, and I mean I even talked about it a little bit earlier with the I Am Starfire. Like this group of kid superheroes is probably going to be where DC attacks to try to get to this more LGBT, more signaling, virtue signaling concept because they're children's books. They're children's characters that teenagers are supposed to be associated with. So they're easier to educate that group of people if they're reading that genre. Which again, I Am Starfire, Gotham High School or whatever. All of those comics that are coming out right now that are very narrative, pushing on narratives and stuff like that. Marvel has the same concepts of pushing on those narratives, but they are so blatantly thrown out there that it's so hard for them to correlate them into a story. What do I mean by that? It's let's say they wanted to make the Kingpin bisexual, then for all meaning Marvel will come out and be like, oh hey, the Kingpin's bisexual. We already changed his profile and his information on the Wikipedia. So now when you read about his character, it's gonna be bisexual now. Without even correlating a story, not even making a story to where it even touches base on that or breaks it down for us to kind of digest better. It just kind of throws it out there. That's what Marvel does, but DC doesn't. DC tries to break it down, and they break it down so horribly. Yeah, so that's my take on all that stuff. Tim Drake being bisexual is probably one of the weirdest things I've read about all week. I don't know where they're going with it. I don't know what they need.
Personally don't care where they're going with it. To me, it's just a piece of information that just happens to be about the character.
I just wonder if it's gonna pay itself forward later in some story.
No, this is just so people stop saying so many things.
Yeah,
that's all this is.
Not enough.
Yeah, that's all this is. Trying to find the meaning in why that is, I think, is like trying to find out why we're alive. You know, it's just one of those things that you're just never going to truly understand.
Yeah.
And there's no sense in trying to make this or that about it, because ultimately, what does it affect about the story? He might get a boyfriend. Cool. What does it fucking matter? He's still the smartest Robin. He's still one of the greatest stick fighters in the Marvel universe. Sorry, in the DC universe. Do you feel like
they've done with the idea of it, Wiccan and Hulkling? Do you feel like they've kind of like made it better?
No.
Or is it still the same when it comes to them? Their SJW stuff.
I don't think. I think that's apples to oranges, but mostly because like that was already a predetermined like and not so new thing. Mm-hmm. The whole iteration on Tim Drake thing coming out as bi. Well, I mean, well, first and foremost, this is only like a week old, right?
Yeah.
Secondly, we have no idea what's even gonna happen with this. Like, let's say he like kisses this kid and he's like, you know what? I'm not about this.
Maybe he's gonna have relationships with Blue Beetle.
Yeah, who knows, dude? You know, it very well might happen
with them.
You know,
out in a movie.
Yeah, who the fuck knows? But the thing I think is most important is the fact that, well, one, he's still a Robin.
Yeah.
Secondly, he's still the second smartest person in the DC universe next to Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the most capable outside of Batman. This kid is a fucking prodigy.
You know what's even weirder is I've noticed that even with all the talks of the SJW and the Signal virtually and all that stuff, I really haven't seen them put that pressure in the films. None of the characters that they've brought out with in that sense have been in film. You look at even Harley Quinn. Well,
Cassandra Cain, Cassandra Cain, I think, is the only one so far that they've actually given like that kind of treatment to. And the reason that I say that is just because whatchamacallit, we had the fucking Batwoman series.
Yeah, the movie.
Yeah, so I mean there's that.
Yep. Oh, yeah, my neck hurts. But yeah, I really haven't seen any of the SJW leak into the filming. So like when they introduce like Batman characters or they introduce like films that are coming out, I really haven't seen them say like, oh, well, the Flash is bisexual, so he's going to have the Reverse Flash whose boyfriend is going to be in the film with him. Yeah. And they'll have a love scene and a love interest going on behind the scene. I don't know. I haven't seen anything like that in the films. I kind of like, it's like you said, it's more like information that's just put out there.
Yeah.
It's just information that's just put out there for what it's worth. And then they take it as much as they can. Mostly in the comic books is what they kind of like push on it, but not in the film. But yeah. What else is going on? Anything else going on in Hollywood world or comic book world or video game world?
I mean, not that I'm aware of.
No. All righty, man. I think that's it for the show. I think we've done pretty well.
Indeedy, sir.
Yeah. Guys, what did you think of Marvel's What If? What do you feel is going to happen in the next couple of episodes of Marvel What If? Do you think it's going to be something that's going to correlate into the films? Do you feel we'll eventually see a Captain Britain versus Marvel Zombies coming up? Do you feel we'll see the Marvel universe versus the Marvel zombie universe? Do you feel like Doctor Strange is going to come out and fix everything? Or do you feel like Ultron is going to come back from the past or the multiverse and destroy the world and be the fastball that God needs to throw at it? Guys, how did you feel about Marvel's What If? What are your theories and your predictions about the show? If you want to share them with us, go ahead and put them in the comments. If not, leave them on our Facebook. Guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget also, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Apple, whatever. We're on every podcasting service that you could think of. And yeah, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. And check out the shows there and help us out to grow. What are your thoughts on the DC universe and the Tim Drake being bisexual? Do you guys feel like it's a much necessity for the show? Do you feel like it's anything that should be not researched but discovered more, something that should be explored more? Deborah, thank you for jumping on the show. I hope you guys are good. I hope the boys are good. Yeah, you guys are comic fans. Us too, so don't be afraid to jump on with us and ask questions so that way we can talk comic books more. It's good. I hope everybody's doing good. Deborah, tell your family I say hello. I am feeling a lot better.
Thank you very much, Robert. I truly appreciate that, brother.
Way better. I'm feeling so much better. I've been eating foods and getting my smell and taste back. Hopefully it comes back in full. Man, I had a really great birthday. I made some tomahawk steaks. I've never done that before. If you guys ever get a chance and you guys like to barbecue, tomahawk steaks is where it's at. Thank you, John, so much. Thank you, Deborah, for the belated birthday. I will take it to heart. I had a really great birthday and I'm ready to have a really great weekend. Guys, I appreciate you. I hope everything is going well. Make sure you guys are being more respectable towards each other because we do have the Delta variant and numbers are climbing and we want to make sure everybody's safe and secure. Make sure to take care of each other, be smart, and we'll see you guys again here next Friday on the Average Boys Podcast, our live feed here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Shout out to all our Twitch watchers and our YouTube watchers. Guys, we appreciate every one of you. Don't be afraid to come on our Facebook and ask questions. Ask us what we think about stuff during the week. We'll converse with you then, and then we'll get on the Friday show and jump on here. And yeah, we hope you guys are enjoying your week for what it's worth, and we hope you guys are safe and staying positive and taking care of each other. And we'll see you guys again next Friday here on the Average Boys Podcast, 9 p.m. every Friday night. See ya.